Morten Storm from Denmark is hiding out in the north of England. His life is in danger. Al-Qaeda terrorists are out to kill him.
I have to scan. From the time I wake up in the morning, I'm scanning everything. I know my mind is working, my eyes are scanning, the people are meeting, because there's many people in the world who wants to kill me.
He used to be a fanatical Islamist. He called himself Murad al-Awlaki and was a personal friend of al-Qaeda leader Anwar al-Awlaki. But then he switched sides and helped the Danish secret services and the CIA kill al-Awlaki in 2011.
I knew that this man, he had to be taken out, and the CIA was obviously, that was their plan from the beginning. It was an evil necessity. It had to be done, otherwise other people would have been killed.
The Islamist turned informer grew up in a quaint town called Korsør on the Baltic Sea. But Morten Storm came from a broken home and lived on the rougher side of town. Joining a biker gang gave him a sense of kinship.
We were very good friends, and we love guns and money, you know. every boy's dream, you know. So, and he knew a lot about guns. So we have this something we was united to.
And it was something that made me, or gave me, some kind of a temporary family or belonging or identity. But I was seeking something much greater and a purpose of life.
Morten Storm believed he'd found that purpose when he came across the Quran in his local library.
I read it, first page, it was a page turner. I kept on reading, couldn't stop reading. And it just, everything I wanted to know in my life and to do was in that book. It's like you find the Holy Grail. You know, you find the cup you can drink of and you live forever.
Morten Storm embraced an extremist interpretation of the Quran. He moved to London, where he became a follower of militant Islamist leader Omar Bakri. He demonstrated outside the US Embassy, burning American flags and calling for the founding of an Islamic state. But it wasn't enough.
We are going there, it's probably going to be a fight, we're probably going to smash the embassy up, and so I thought this is jihad. But to my big surprise, I realized that Omar Bakri and his crew was more or less just big empty barrels, and I knew that I had to go to Yemen to join up with the real people.
In early 2006, he went looking for them in Yemen, spending time in the capital Sana'a and surrounding areas. It was here that he met Anwar al-Awlaki, a radical imam who advocated jihad, urged his followers to kill US soldiers and planned terrorist attacks on civilians. At some point, however, Storm began to harbour doubts.
Now, it takes some time to install that software in you and for you to become that Islamic robot where you no longer think rational, you do no longer think independently or freely. Now, that software is that dangerous. So once you have installed it, then you are in a position where you can hate your own family.
Murdering in the name of Allah. Eventually, Storm began to distance himself from Islamic extremism and decided he wanted to return to Denmark. He offered his services to the Danish secret services and the CIA to help devise a plan to kill Anwar al-Awlaki. Storm knew his Achilles heel.
He had a preference or weakness for blonde women, and especially East European women.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Storm shows us a video of a Croatian woman who'd converted to Islam. In this taped message to al-Awlaki, she presents herself wearing a chador. Then she takes it off.
My hair, I described it to you before. So now you see me without it, and
This video will prove lethal for al-Awlaki. Storm brings it to his hideout in the mountains of Yemen. He claims it contained a mini transmitter that helped the CIA track the terrorist. On September 31st, 2011, the Islamic cleric was killed by a US drone. The CIA claimed sole responsibility for the death of the terrorist leader, and Danish intelligence ended its work with Morten Storm. Today it refuses to comment on him and turned down an interview request. Morten Storm wrote a book about his experiences, partially to protect himself.
I had some information which were very vulnerable, that could damage a lot of things within the Danish government and also worldwide. So maybe some people were interested in taking me out. And for me, I said, well, my only defense is to go public.
Islamic terrorists reacted by sending him a video, seemingly recorded in Syria. On the wall are photographs of Storm and a number of other high-profile Danes. The message is clear. But despite the threat to his life, Morten Storm says he's been offered no police protection. He'd like to lead a normal life, but that's unlikely to happen anytime soon.